let's get to know about India-Singapore relations. Let me just pull up a map and show you both the countries. So this is India, and this tiny little country in Southeast Asia is the Republic of Singapore. Now both the nation enjoys cultural, strategic and commercial relations. So remember these three terms: cultural, strategic and commercial. Now every country signs international agreement with other countries in order to form relations. Similarly, India and Singapore have signed the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, that is CECA. Now as per this agreement, it increases trade, investments and economic cooperation between the two nations. So if you look at this term, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, this word economic cooperation, it means that both the country will cooperate to a maximum extent when it comes to both the nation's economic growth. In diplomacy, there's a very famous line which is, some deal is better than no deal. So this term, this line can easily tell you about how much cooperation is needed between countries. After all, there's a lot of things on the line. It's about nation's economic growth, unemployment, GDP, all those factors are there. So cooperation is needed to the highest extent. But then it does not mean that one country has to say yes to all the demands of the other country out of some pressure or something. You know, if the deal is not at all good from any angle, they just simply walk away. But then countries see to it that some sort of cooperation is attained. Now moments back I told you that both India and Singapore enjoys cultural, strategic and commercial relations. Let's talk about each one of these points. Singapore has a lot of Indians. They are known as Singaporean Indians. They're usually locally born, and some of them are even second, third, fourth or even fifth generation descendants of immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. From India, majority of Tamilian, Malayali and Punjabi people are the ones who are residing and are localites in Singapore. In fact, there is a place in Singapore called Little India, which shows off the best of Singapore's Indian community, from vibrant culture to incredible shopping. And if you look at this place, it exactly looks like how there are bazaars in India. They exactly look like local markets in India. You know, they have flower vendors, then modern eateries, boutique, hotels and all those kind of things. And then there's a lot of Hindu and Chinese temples, mosques and churches. Again, you'll also find a lot of South Indian vegetarian food, then North Indian tandoori dishes. Then they have goldsmith shops and sari stores. That's why it is almost like a little India home. And festivals like Diwali and Pongal is celebrated in a massive way. This place gets all decorated and it's wonderful to watch. So this forms the cultural relation between India and Singapore. The next one is strategic relations. Now when you hear the word strategic, what comes to your mind? Do you think of military, naval exercises and fighting terrorism, maritime security, right? All these things comes under strategic relations. So India and Singapore conducts annual naval combat exercises, which is called as SIMBEX, SIMBEX. Many warships from India and Singapore takes part in this exercise. In fact, our Air Force and Navy, they take their people to Singapore every now and then. They take them for education, research and training purposes. Then both the army also conducts training together. Sometimes the Singaporean army comes to India and likewise Indian army goes to Singapore. So military cooperation between both the nation forms a major part of strategic relation. Now let's talk about the commercial aspect. In the beginning I said that India is an important economic partner for Singapore, and that is how the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement is signed. If we have to look at numbers, then Singapore is the second largest source of investment in India. Since Singapore is part of Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is ASEAN, so in that group, Singapore is the country which has the largest investment in India. Now when you look at it from business aspect, you need to broadly think of it this way. So what do you think, what are the policies of India that has attracted the Singaporean government to invest in India? Don't you think it's the India's economic liberalization policy that happened after 1991? And another one would be India's Look East policy, if you remember, where India wants its domestic manufacturing sector to actually reach to the Southeast Asian countries' market. So you see, these two policies of India are like a foundation step between India and Singapore's bilateral trade. So India's main exports to Singapore is petroleum, gemstones, jewelry, machinery, and in return India imports electronic goods, organic chemicals and metals. So this CECA agreement, which is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, As I said that the words economic cooperation itself means that both the party is going to work towards it so that they benefit out of it. Cooperation is the word. Keeping that in mind, both the country, that is India and Singapore, they have eliminated tariff barriers, meaning they have eliminated the tax on imports and exports. Then they have also eliminated double taxation, duplicate processes and regulations, and provided unhindered access and collaboration between the financial institutions of Singapore and India. So just look at it, how much of norms have been relaxed between both the countries when it comes to trade. So this is what is the main objective of Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Both the countries have enhanced bilateral collaboration related to education, science and technology, intellectual property, aviation. Then they have relaxed visa regulations. That's why many Indian professionals in the information technology industry are working in Singapore. Then Singapore has invested in projects to upgrade India's seaports, airports, and developing information technology parks. And if you see, the idea behind Singapore's investment in developing India's seaport and airports is that India has become Singapore's fourth biggest tourist destination. You see, so much economic cooperation is there between both the nations. So all these events shapes the bilateral relation between Republic of India and the Republic of Singapore.